We'd like to call our October meeting to order. And in honor of getting their first local laws passed tonight, Democracy in Action, we'd like to ask Albany County legislators Carolyn McLaughlin and Mickey Cleary to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Beston, Brewski, Bergdorf, Chapman, Clay, Cleary, Camiso, Collins, Cunningham, Demolowitz, Drake, Efacoro, Ethier, Feeney, Fine, Graham, Andrew Joyce, Ray Joyce, Cohn, Lakakis, Lockhart, Murriello, Mayo, McLaughlin, McLean Lane, Miller, O'Brien, Hurley, Peter, Plosky, Reedy, Reinhardt, Ricard, Simpson, Smith, Tunney, Ward, Whalen, Willingham. 39 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to make note of additional sponsors with the clerk. First item under previous business, local law N.
Local law number N for 2022, the County of Albany, New York, amending the Albany County Charter for the purpose of establishing legislative districts based on the 2020 census.
Long roll call, please.
Beston.
Yes. No, I'm sorry, no.
Brewski.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Bergdorf.
Yes.
Chapman.
No.
I got you. Clay. Cleary.
No.
Camiso.
No.
Collins.
Yes.
Cunningham.
No.
Demolowitz.
No.
Drake.
Yes.
Efacoro.
No.
Ethier.
Mr. Chairman, explain my vote for Southern redistricting. As you know, I've been here 40 years. This will be my 4th time on redistricting board. And I have listened carefully throughout the discussion regarding redistricting. As you know, the last several times have resulted in prolonged and expensive litigation with no result. And in an effort to avoid that and to learn from the lessons of the past, we authorized the creation of the Albany County Redistricting. Tonight, we have a recommendation for this committee for the first time. Committee was supported. We went to public with the general public board for 2019 supported. Here we had public hearings on this thing, and nobody spoke against it. While I understand and respect the view of some members that the process could have been better, I think it's clear that the efforts made by the committee, or the commission, as far as surpassed anything previously done in the past. In our public hearing with opposition, I do not believe it is in the best interest of the county residents to once again ask for a delay, uncertainty, potentially millions of dollars of expense. And because of the reasons, but also the fact nobody in my district has spoken against this. I'll be voting yes. Thank you.
Feeney.
No.
Fine.
No.
Graham.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
No.
Ray Joyce. Cohn.
No.
Lakakis.
No.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Murriello.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
No.
McLean Lane.
No.
Miller.
No.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Hurley.
Yes.
Peter.
No.
Pulaski.
No.
Reedy.
No.
Reinhardt.
No.
Ricard.
Aye. Yes.
Yes. Simpson.
No.
Smith.
Yes.
Tani.
Yes.
Ward.
No.
Whalen.
Yes.
Willingham.
No.
Brewski, is that a yes or a no?
I can also do my statement.
I'll just say-
As an elected person, I don't believe that we can choose our voters, and voters should choose us. We have a system in place that's outside of our own process. We trust that system, and for the reason I'm voting yes.
You said yes, right?
Yes.
I have 15 yes, 24 no.
Local law N fails, 24-15. This time I would like to read a statement on behalf of myself, members of the Democratic majority, co-signed by the Majority Leader Dennis Feeney, and William Clay, Chairman of the Legislative Black Caucus. Commissioner Volk, the Albany County Legislature is appreciative of the hard work that went into the redistricting process and recognizes that the Albany County Redistricting Commission and the Majority-Minority District Subcommittee undertook this process with a meticulous eye to detail and great dedication. The legislature is committed to ensuring the best representation for its residents, and as such, feels compelled to send the map back to the ACRC for further consideration. The following details the legislature's recommendations as required by the Albany County Local Law 8 for 2019, the Voting Rights Act, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Currently, Albany County has 5 strong minority-majority districts: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Maintaining effective MMDs safeguards voting rights and allows minority populations to elect their preferred candidate. The final map presented by the legislature to the legislature by the ACRC contained 5 MMDs with a possibility of 2 opportunity MMDs. This raises some concerns. Essentially, that the districts will be weak and ineffective as MMDs. These communities of color are better served if the minority voting populations therein are not spread so thin and instead are more cohesive and unified and better able to represent the needs of their residents. For these reasons, the legislature recommends that the ACRC and MMD subcommittee re-review the maps to determine if a more concentrated minority voting age population in the MMDs would be more effective in producing minority preferred candidates in said districts, even if it results in the reduction of proposed opportunity districts. The legislature recognized that the ACRC's decisions must be based on the data provided by the 2020 census. Practically speaking, much has changed across the county since the survey was completed. Preserving the ability of the minority community to elect their preferred candidate is a priority. Accordingly, the ACRC and MMD subcommittee should take into consideration the impact the changing landscape will have on effective MMDs to the extent legally permissible. Thank you. Next item under previous business.
Authorizing an agreement with CNS Engineers regarding space planning consulting services for various county offices and departments.
On 303, an amendment came after Audit and Finance last meeting. It asked that the findings of Phase 1 of the work to come back to the legislature before the commencement of Phase 2. The language was proposed in that committee, but we need to make a motion to amend 303. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Peter, Seconded by Mr. Ficoro. All those in favor? Opposed? All those in favor of Resolution 303
Mr. Chairman,
as amended? Mr. Grimm?
I'd like to speak on
Yeah.
not the amendment, but rather myself. I voted no in Finance Committee, and I also will vote no tonight. What we're asking from the taxpayers is $417,000 for a consultant for office space planning. So let's take a little closer look at what we're talking about in terms of the money. That means we're going to pay a service group manager $230 an hour. Department manager, $216 an hour. Senior principal architect, $216 an hour. Principal engineer, $207 an hour. The list goes on and on. I have a simple question for my colleagues tonight. If I asked you to name the 20 top critical needs in this county, would office space planning be in the 20? If I asked you to name the top 50 critical needs in this county, would office space planning be among those? When you knock on doors, meet with your constituents, has anyone ever said, you know, this inflation is really tough, but I want you to really focus more money on office space planning? The fact of the matter, yeah, I might go for a small contract with supervisory help, but to spend $417,000 on office space planning is not the best use of county dollars. There's many more needs that are much more critical that could be addressed with this money. Accordingly, I vote no tonight, and I hope you will too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did support the amendment and obviously the bill. This isn't just a space planning thing. It's actually seeing if we're using our space effectively and if any of the buildings that are currently owned by Albany County can be put to private use, put on the tax rolls, where maintenance cost is very, very high. This contract is also split into two. The first part, which is the lesser amounts for assessment. Only after the county executive's office comes back with that assessment are they then going to move forward with part two. Per the recommendation of my colleague, Mr. Bergdorf, we made sure that this is coming back to the committee for review after it's done. And the county executive's office has said that they will do that in whatever format that the legislature deems fit, whether that's a joint hearing of the Public Works and Finance Committee or coming back in front of us in any way that the chairman sees fit. I think that when we're actually looking at this, it's not just an office configuration. It's making sure we're not wasting long-term monies by having an accurate sort of stacking plan and seeing if there's a possibility that underutilized buildings could actually go back on the tax rolls, helping our long-term economic health. So yes, it's easy to say don't spend money on this, but it's much longer-term positive if you actually view, are we actually going to save money in the long run? Are we going to be efficient in the long run? And I do believe that this does that and we put in the proper safeguards. I'll be voting aye. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professional space planning is really an industry standard when you build or plan a building. Just as if you were doing new construction, there would be a subcontract within your architect's contract generally, would be the space plan. This firm, which we are hiring here, the bid was, I think, $420,000 for the 2 phases. The second lowest bidder was $1.2 million. It was about $800,000 higher. But that's because the other firm, I think, was a general contractor from New York City, and this firm really only does space planning. But you do need architects and engineers to do space planning. You've got to evaluate electrical systems. You've got to determine whether you need raised computer floors. You need to determine what kind of synergies you get by putting one group of employees next to another group of employees. I'm going to support this tonight because they're talking about a pool of 800 county employees, the departments they're going to look at, with potentially up to 300 moves. We can't afford to get this wrong. And the one thing I urge the committee, the General Services Commissioner, and I would urge the County Executive's Office, is to put together a high-powered committee that is going to oversee this space planning effort. And because the decisions you make in part one, in the evaluation, in the summary, and interviewing stakeholders, drives the plan that you get for implementation in phase two. So you can't change your mind 8 months down the road. This process needs decision makers at the top end. And we thought in committee that there should be some level of legislative oversight. So the county has the ability not to go forward with phase two, but we wanted to create some sort of formal mechanism. And in committee, we talked about a joint committee meeting of finance and public works. And I assume we'll determine what that will be, but that when phase one is done, everybody gets to say, where do we think we're going with this? Because once you do phase two and all the planning, then you just got to start paying for the actual construction. You got to rip down the walls, you got to buy cubicles, you got to put in new cabling, new electrical services. You have to make sure that you're code compliant. There are a lot of things that drive out of this. And this is, we wouldn't be questioning this if we were hiring an architect to build the building. But what we're doing is we're hiring professionals to figure out what's the best way to fill the shell of the building, given the county's workflow, department synergies, and to a certain degree, what they learned during the pandemic about what they can do with computers and remote work sites, et cetera, so that we can position the county to go into the next generation. Thank you very much. I'll be voting aye.
Mr. Drake?
Well, I can't really question and answer this, but it just seems to me, I think I'm going to vote against this, but not wholly agree with it. But it seems to me that with our thousands of employees and their expertise and experience here, that we could create our own phase one and then bring in the professionals to implement it. And so I stand against it simply because I feel like we could be doing internally probably a better job for the phase one and then bring the professionals in for phase two to help us not make the mistakes as Paul brought up. So, thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Thank you. As much as I'm for efficiencies, I will be voting no on this tonight. Despite what Mr. Peter and Mr. Bergdorf have brought up, when you read the contract, it is very restrictive and does not offer what they're saying this contract offers. As well, the potential in this to expand the cost well above $130,000 or so in the first round is extensive. Everything in there is extra. So if there's anything that's off, they're going to charge us for it. It's going to be even more money for getting phase two. There's more than a few significant questions that we're asking about in finance. We received none of those answers. Those things need to be answered before we vote yes on this. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this.
Carolyn?
Thank you. I'm really supporting this, and I would hope that this information that will come back will help to inform other discussions that are going on in other committees around space in the county. I know I've been involved in a conversation for almost 2 years now, and I hope that what comes out of this, particularly in phase one, will help address some of the other concerns. I don't know what all buildings are going to be considered in this study, but whatever comes out of this, I would hope that it would inform the full picture of space throughout the county, because I don't know if, for example, I don't know if the Board of Elections is included in this, but there's been a number of issues being brought up about that space, and I would hope that whatever comes out of this will inform any future decision-making and comments that will be made regarding that agency. Thank you.
Mr. Moriello?
Mr. Peter, I just have one quick question for you. When you talk about doing phase one first, and then the legislature, actually it's two committees that will look at the results of phase one. What's the mechanism that we use to either stop or proceed with the rest of the contract?
Sure. I mean, if I may, Mr. Chairman. Sure. Based on this, it's one contract. The county executive's office could move forward with it. They'd have to present it to us, and I'm pretty sure that if there was a large amount of negative feedback, they would pull back, and they certainly said they were open to it, but they could continue with the contract.
So we really have no mechanism of stopping this. If we disagree with them, and the county executive's office wants to continue with the project, they can do so.
That is
our objection.
That's correct.
Mr. Grant?
All right, thank you. Just a rebuttal, if I could, Mr. Chairman, because I think some of the members are leaving people with the mistaken impression that the bill has not been approved. The $417,000 will be approved tonight with a yes vote. It doesn't, yes, there's going to be a report after the first phase, but the money has been approved if this vote is there's a yes vote, and I think that should be made clear to all members.
Mr. Fine?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to vote yes on this, but I want to say I think it's important that there is space for input from legislators and from the community. A lot of county buildings are in my district. I'm especially interested in the site where the BOE is, as well as the health department, mental health department. Potential redevelopment there. We're looking at, I don't know if that's part of it, but we're looking at potential redevelopment of that site. I think it's really important. It's something that we all have input in, and the community that lives there has input in as well.
That'll be $50, Ms. Lockhart.
Just one final part is that all the monies do not have to be spent with this. The county executive would have to have a viable plan that it wants to move forward with. So it's not that we're obligated for the entire amount, it's that the county executive's office could move forward with it if they found it to be a viable plan. I think that's just an important right now as well.
Mr. Demales?
Thank you. I think that if we move forward with this, like the gentleman whose name is on the door here, always said that what the legislature creates, the legislature can undo. So as this moves forward, and we get to the phase 2, and the county executive has some questions about it, we can have questions on it, because we'll have to find the same answer. So for that reason, I'll be supporting.
Mr. Ficoro?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is just a question for clarification. Does the scope of study include a plan for savings or a goal for any type of savings from this?
I think the ultimate goal is a right sizing, the space planning. Taking a look at what the space that we're using, the number of offices, the number of individuals we have in those offices, and that'll inform next steps for the county. So I think that's part of the plan, or part of the goal. The scope of work is right sizing the county and creating efficiencies. And yes, there is an upfront cost, but there is savings after the fact when you talk about the space we might save. Mr. Reinhardt.
This is a tough one. For those of you who are aware, obviously, this is not a partisan issue. We've got some valid points coming from all different directions here. I think Paul's points are very good. Matt Peter's points are very good. But I also think that Mark Grimm and Matt Miller have some good points. So the way I'm going to look at this is I'm going to say, okay, is this a deal that I would be comfortable doing myself? The answer is no. I think the goals are good. But I think Matt has some very excellent points about we had questions, they were not answered. As legislators, we ought to be able to get answers. The likelihood of additional costs, as Matt pointed out, I think that's very high. As you see from some of the comments made here, some of the other members would say, gee, is it going to address the Board of Elections building? Is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? Guess what? That's all going to cost us more. If we start, if we have scope creep and we start doing more, it's going to cost us more. This is very expensive. It's worthwhile to do, but I would like to say, okay, let's see if we can do a better job on this one. So I'm going to be voting no. I think the legislature should be heard on this. Thank you.
Okay, long roll call on Resolution 303 as amended. Ms. McLean-Lane.
Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chair. I I just confirmed this with my colleague, as I remember this from when I first came on to the legislature, and I was speaking to somebody more senior than myself about a number of employees, et cetera, and he had told me that we had shed upwards of 1,000 employees over during the 90s and during the Great Recession. Now, I'm going to actually get a physical, get an actual number because I don't want it to just be in total, but, you know, I do remember this, and it's something I took into consideration in saying yes. So we've created so many efficiencies. We've obviously, you know, we've gone electronic and digital in most of what we do, and we've automated a lot of things, and it doesn't require as many employees now. So I will be voting in the affirmative, but I will try and get that number. I think it might be helpful for people, you know, as we move forward.
Thank you. Okay, one roll call on 303 as amended.
Beston.
Yes.
Brewski.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Cleary.
Yes.
Canisso.
Yes.
Collins.
No.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Demolowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
No.
Epicoro.
Yes.
Ethier.
No.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Grimm.
No.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Ray Joyce.
Yes.
Kuhn.
No.
Lakakis.
No.
Lockhart.
No.
Murriello.
No.
Mayo.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
O'Brien.
No.
Hurley.
No.
Peter.
Yes.
Pulaski.
No.
Reedy.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
No.
Ricard.
No.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
No.
Tunney.
No.
Ward.
Yes.
Whalen.
No.
Willingham.
Yes.
I have 22 yes, 17 no.
Resolution 303 as amended passes. 22 yes, 17 no. 334, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law number I for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending local law number 6 for 2017, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, repealing the wireless communication surcharge authorized by Article 6 of the County Law of the State of New York, set forth in Albany County, local law number 9 for 2009, and opposing the wireless communications surcharges pursuant to the authority of tax law section 186-G.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 334 passes unanimous. 337, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law number J for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany requiring that all unintended weapons in the home be locked or kept securely.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 337 passes unanimous. 338, please.
Public hearing on proposed local law number K for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany banning deadly weapons, dangerous instruments, explosive devices, and poisonous gases from Albany County facilities.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 338 passes unanimous. 334, please. First item under current business.
Amending resolution number 58 for 2016 regarding the renovation and rehabilitation of buildings at the Ann Lee Shaker site.
All those in favor? Opposed? 344 passes unanimous. 345, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Stevenson Equipment regarding the purchase of a Roscoe front mount broom and amending the 2022 Department of Public Works budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 345 passes unanimous. 346, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee regarding the Highway Safety Grant Program and amending the 2022 Department of Public Works budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 346 passes unanimous. 347, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement for commercial space at the MVP Arena, Roshana Corporation, DBA Pearl Street Convenience.
All those in favor? Opposed? 347 passes unanimous. 348, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement with Tech Forward at the MVP Arena.
All those in favor? Opposed? 348 passes unanimous. 349, please.
Amending resolution number 113 for 2022 regarding the replacement of indoor LED video displays and indoor LED ribbon display and score tables at the MVP Arena.
All those in favor? Opposed? 349 passes unanimous. 350, please.
Authorizing an interdepartmental agreement regarding the Safe Harbor Initiative.
All those in favor? Opposed? 350 passes unanimous. 351, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Berkshire Farms and Family Center regarding non-secure detention services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 351 passes unanimous. 352, please.
Authorizing an agreement between the Department of Social Services and Mental Health regarding services for safety net and TANF applicants and recipients.
All those in favor? Opposed? 352 passes unanimous. 353, please.
Authorizing agreements with the New York State Office of Children and Family Services and Bright Side Up for daycare registration and inspection services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 353 passes unanimous. 354, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Pine Ridge Industries for the provision of employment success coaching.
All those in favor? Opposed? 354 passes unanimous. 355, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Altamont Program regarding employment services for temporary assistance for needy families and safety net recipients.
All those in favor? Opposed? 355 passes unanimous. 356, please.
Authorizing an extension of a lease agreement with Capital District Youth Center regarding the expansion of the Capital District Juvenile Secure Detention Facility.
All those in favor? Opposed? 356 passes unanimous. 357, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Core Tactics Healthcare Consulting regarding nurse consulting services for Shaker Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center.
All those in favor? Opposed? 357 passes unanimous. 358, please.
Amending resolution number 453 for 2021 regarding the Advanced Training Initiative.
All those in favor? Opposed? 358 passes unanimous. 359, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Access Transit regarding transportation services for eligible seniors.
All those in favor? Opposed? 359 passes unanimous. 360, please.
Authorizing agreements with the New York State Office for the Aging and the Albany County Department of Social Services regarding the New York Connects expansion and enhancement program.
All those in favor? Opposed? 360 passes unanimous. $361, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Life Path regarding adult daycare services for seniors.
All those in favor? Opposed? 361 passes unanimous. 362, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension regarding dietitian services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 362 passes unanimous, and I know those seniors are getting ready to go back to the Chapman Center and enjoy their lunch, so it's a good program. 363, please.
Authorizing an agreement with LifePath regarding home delivered meals for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 363 passes unanimous. 364, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Peter Young Industries regarding home delivered meals for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 364 passes unanimous. 365, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Projects of Ravina regarding home delivered meals for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 365 passes unanimous. 366, please.
Authorizing an agreement with LifePath regarding congregate meal services for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 366 passes unanimous. 367, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Senior Projects of Ravina regarding congregate meal services for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 367 passes unanimous. 368, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Colony Senior Service Centers regarding congregate meal services for seniors.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 368 passes unanimous. 369, please.
Amending the 2022 Department for Aging budget, mobile office.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 369 passes unanimous, and we congratulate the Department of Aging for taking their office and their services out into the community. Good work, and keep us posted. 370, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding sexual assault crisis and prevention services.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 370 passes unanimous. 371, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services regarding the Second Upstate Family Defense Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction Grant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 371 passes unanimous. 372, please.
Amending the 2022 Department of Mental Health budget, administrative adjustments.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 372 passes unanimous. 373, please.
Authorizing agreements with General Health Care regarding pharmacy services and a lease of space at 260 South Pearl Street in the city of Albany.
On Resolution 373, the services provided by the Department of Mental Health by way of having an in-house pharmacy are absolutely indispensable to our community. There are, however, issues with inconsistencies between the backup and the RFP that was issued, so I'm referring it back to the Health Committee. So please send 373 back to Health.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Drake.
May I also just make a statement about this that might be helpful to the body?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I think some folks who are on the Health Committee brought this to bear in the last committee I wasn't present, but I was approached on this matter, and it's just concerning, since it's going back to committee, I'm just planting this, if you will, Mr. Chairman. It might be worth looking into. There was formerly a local business that provided pharmacy services in the South End and in the Department of Mental Health. And it's my understanding that, I don't want to color this in a bias, but maybe we're kind of edged out a little bit, and have long-standing community ties. I think this is worth looking into, especially for those of you who may, I forget whose district this is, I apologize, but, something odd might have gone on here. It's not something with which I have expertise. It's not my district. But I'd like to bring it up because I think, family and neighborhood businesses are an integral part of our business in Albany County. And many times, and it's my understanding that in this case is what happened, that there were a lot of accommodations made for our citizens who needed that help. Whether it be free medication or extended hours or whatever it may be. I don't know the politics of it, and I don't pretend to know. But something funny might have gone on here. So if anyone's familiar with the Department of Mental Health or familiar with the pharmacy that was there previously, or Lucas Genoa, which is I understand General was a chain or, a larger corporation. It would be my vote to work with neighborhood vendors and families who know our citizens and who have a vested interest in the community. So if this is going back to committee, I will make a pointed effort to attend that committee and bring what information I've learned. But if there are others who have an interest in this, it's worth looking into between now and then. Thanks for letting me.
374, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application to an agreement with the State of New York Division of Criminal Justice Services for the 2018-2019 Senate Majority Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 374 passes unanimous. 375, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2021-2022 Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
To note my abstention. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 375 passes unanimous with one abstention. 376, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2021-2022 statewide interoperability communications grant formula-based funding and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
I'd like to note my abstention on 376 and 377. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 376 passes with one abstention. 377, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the fiscal year 2022 Domestic Terrorism Prevention Grant.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 377 passes unanimous. 378, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Motorola Solutions regarding the purchase of Apex radios for the Sheriff's Office.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 378 passes unanimous. 379, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Motorola Solutions regarding the purchase and installation of Apex Next radios and server at the Sheriff's Office.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 379 passes unanimous. 380, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Entrado Life and Safety Solutions Corporation regarding the purchase and installation of an IP phone system with next-gen 911 functionality at the Sheriff's Office.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 380 passes unanimous. 381, please.
Authorizing an agreement with XBiz Systems regarding the purchase of dispatch consoles for the 911 Communications Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 381 passes unanimous. I'm sure all of us are looking forward to seeing the new 911 center. 382, please.
Amending Resolution Number 471 for 2021 regarding the 2022 Albany County Stop DWI Plan.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 382 passes unanimous. 383, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Services regarding the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Grant and amending the 2022 Probation Department budget.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 383 passes unanimous. 384, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2022 State Homeland Security Program and amending the 2022 Division of Information Services budget.
Note my abstention on 384 and 385. All those in favor of 384? Aye. Opposed? 384 passes, one abstention. 385, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the State Law Enforcement Terrorism Prevention Grant and and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 385 passes, unanimous. 386, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood regarding arbitrage compliance services.
All those in favor? Opposed? 386 passes, unanimous. 387, please.
Amending the 2022 Department of Residential Healthcare Facilities budget overtime.
All those in favor? Opposed? 387 passes, unanimous. 388, please.
Authorizing a payment in lieu of taxes agreement with Route 9W Solar 1 LLC regarding real property located at 690 Route 9W in the town of Bethlehem.
All those, Mr. Joyce. All those in favor? Opposed? 388 passes, one abstention. 389, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 32 McSella-Wayne Avenue in the city of Cohoes.
All those in favor? Opposed? 389 passes, unanimous. 390, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of real property located at 397 First Street in the city of Albany.
All those in favor? Opposed? 390 passes, unanimous. 391, please.
Amending the 2022 Albany County Budget Healthcare and Mental Hygiene Worker Bonus Program.
All those in favor? Opposed? 391 passes, unanimous. 392, please.
Amending the Division of Information Services 2022 Budget Chief Information Officer.
All those in favor? Opposed? 392 passes, unanimous. 393, please.
Appointment of a member to the Community Services Board and its Mental Health Subcommittee.
All those in favor? Opposed? 393 passes, unanimous. 394, please.
Confirming the appointment of a member to the Albany County Airport Authority.
All those in favor? Opposed? 394 passes, unanimous. 395, please.
Designating the Audit and Finance Committee to review the tentative annual budget for 2023.
All those in favor? Opposed? 395 passes, unanimous. 396, please.
Public hearing on the 2023 tentative annual budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 396 passes, unanimous. 397, please.
Public hearing on the proposed legislative additions and/or deletions to the 2023 tentative annual budget.
All those in favor? Opposed? 397 passes, unanimous. On to local laws. Local Law C for 2022.
A local law of the County of Albany, New York, regulating the sale of used catalytic converters.
Okay, there's an amendment to this law on your desk. It came up in committee and helps make the law better. Can I have a motion to amend Local Law C? Motion by Ms. McLean Lane, seconded by Mr. Cleary. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion to amend Local Law C passes. Long roll call on Local Law C as amended.
Beston.
Yes.
Brewski.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
Yes.
Chapman. Clay. Cleary. Camiso. Collins. Cunningham. Demolowitz. Drake. Alfacoro.
Yes.
Ethier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Ray Joyce.
Yes.
Cone.
Yes.
Lukakus.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Muriello.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
McLaughlin. McLean Lane.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Purley.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Plosky.
Yes.
Reedy.
Yes.
Reinhardt. Ricard.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Tunney.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Willingham. Unanimous.
Local Law C for 2022 passes unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Cleary. Local Law E.
A local law of the County of Albany amending local law number 1 for 2013 entitled An Ominous Human Rights Law for Albany County.
Long roll call on local law E for 2020. Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate what the sponsor, Laughlin, is trying to do here. Obviously, eliminate discrimination and make fair pay, but I don't really think that's what this bill does. But it does do a couple other things that I want to take note. It would outlaw the ability to write salary negotiable on any ad in Albany County. This is for all private businesses as well as public businesses. Now, employers have been doing this for I don't know, 100 years, and ever since they started doing ads. They may not really be clear in the beginning of what they want their salary range to be, so putting in salary negotiable is not exactly a new idea. It's been around a long time. And it's, once again, it's the government telling the business what they must do. The first person who's going to check the ad are the competitors. They want to know what their competitors are paying in salaries or what their salary range. So this is proprietary information that we're giving access to with competitors. I don't think it's a business-friendly law. Then there's the double standard. This legislature, several years ago, said if you're a job applicant, you can keep private what you made in your salary. An employer, it's against the law for an employer to ask you how much you're making. That's a circumstance where privacy trumps transparency because you're at an awkward situation. If you give up your salary, not been negotiating contracts for 40 years, you give up what you're making, what your price is, your negotiating position is lessened. So I voted for that bill, and it was unanimous in this legislature. But now we're saying if you're an employer, you don't have the right to keep your salary range private. So it's okay to have privacy for the job applicant, but not to have privacy for the employer. That's a double standard. I just don't think it's fair. And although, of course, we're all against discrimination, we're all for fair pay. This is another regulation on business that I just don't think is warranted, and particularly with the double standard I mentioned. Thank you, appreciate it.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Mr. Chairman, first I'd like to thank Carolyn for the hard work that she did on this bill. And as I said in committee, I'm not going to support it. But I don't look at this as an equity or gender bill. I look at this as what is the legitimate role of Albany County government. I'm not sure that this county should be telling the 50, 60,000 businesses in the county how to run their businesses. That is generally, when those sorts of decisions are made on a statewide basis. And there is pending legislation which, as of the committee meeting, has not gone to the governor yet. I don't know if that has changed. And I understand that this bill would sunset if, for whatever action, the governor did not take positive action on that bill. But I look at this from the point of view as we are a regional economy. And businesses in Albany County have to compete with the businesses in Rensselaer County, in Saratoga County, and Schenectady County. And if the businesses in Albany County are held to a set of standards that no one else is complying with, they will ultimately become less competitive. Because if you know what your competitor is paying their key staff, you have the ability to either increase, decrease, poach, or go about trying to cause changes in personnel that may not be advantageous to Albany County businesses. I believe, as Mark does, that certain financial information is private, and it should not be shared. And if this is going to happen, I think it should happen on the regional basis, so everybody is playing by the same rules. But for that reason, I would be voting no.
Can you please add me as a co-sponsor?
16.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to respond to a couple of words that I heard as it relates to this bill. I do believe that as we have gone over the last 6 months or so around and around with this, we've addressed many of the questions and all of the questions and concerns that my colleagues had. And when Mr. Grimm spoke, he said something about the businesses will lose their negotiation ability, lose their outlaw negotiation salary, because they will have to put a range. And compare this to legislation previously put forward where an potential employee was not required to put their salary. Potential employee doesn't have a salary range. The salary that you have is the salary that you have. And when you're applying for a job, you don't have to live there putting down a range of what you were making. You make this, that's it. So I don't see, I have a problem with those two issues being put in the same sentence, or the same conversation here. So it's an employer range, it's an employee salary that they're disclosing. I expect the business community to have the concerns that they have, but this is not a piece of legislation that's been put out to do harm. It is not, and I do believe, Mr. Bergdorf, you said it's not an equity or gender issue for you, and you know what, I would expect you to say that as well. But I'm here because I do have to look at equity and gender issues. So I would ask that my colleagues would please support this legislation, because I think that in the long term, in the long run, it's good for Albany County. And the state legislature, as you noted, has this bill sitting, waiting to go to the governor, and it will address your issue once it does, and the whole region will have the opportunity to respond. Thank you so much.
Well,
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really like this bill, actually, because when I graduated from law school 30 years ago, worked for a big law firm, couldn't discuss our salaries amongst each other. It was prohibited. And we were all told as young associates, if we dared to speak about what we were being paid amongst each other, and management found out, we would be fired. And I remember thinking, wow, that just seems wrong. Like, maybe one of us is not getting paid what the rest of us are getting paid, and we're working just as hard. And that type of behavior has been eliminated. You know, you can't prohibit employees from talking amongst each other about what they're making, because it is discriminatory. And so I believe in not over-regulating business, but I also believe in transparency. People work hard in the workplace, and they should be given a fair shot at making what everybody else makes at the same level. And I don't think that it is that obtrusive to a business to have to post a salary range. I think it's fair and equitable to do that, and I'm voting yes for this. And I want to say thank you, Carolyn, for sponsoring this. And also, I'd like to say that the businesses can still, this doesn't prohibit bonuses from being disclosed or given, so there still is some latitude for businesses to reward employees in a manner in which they please privately. So, you know, I don't think there's anything that curbs businesses from giving bonuses or having to disclose those. So I don't really believe it's that intrusive on business, and thank you very much. I'm voting yes.
Mr. Okoro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I also will be voting yes in support of this legislation, and if you can please add me as a co-sponsor. It is because of rules and policies that prohibit the disclosure of salaries that we see in history. Women are usually or mostly paid lesser than men. And legislations like this would resolve these issues of equity and gender inequality. So this is an issue of gender and equity. So I thank my colleague Caroline McLaughlin for putting this forward. and I urge my colleagues to support this. Thank you.
Mr. Reedy?
Can you name me the co-sponsor, Chairman?
Gotcha. Ms. Cunningham?
I'm voting yes, and I just wanted to stand up and say thank you to Carolyn, because I know you worked really hard on this, and you worked it over in the law committee, and I think the bill is better for it. And I also loved the comments of my colleague, Ms. Whalen, on the other side of the aisle. And it really points out the essence of what this bill is about. This is a pro-worker bill. So it's not surprising that some of us don't like it, because it does create leverage for the employee. And for many of us in this room, the data that illustrates the imbalance that many workers have, who are women, who are people of color, who are people with disabilities, well, this is an equalizer to that reality. And I too found out at an early age in my 20s that my male colleagues were getting paid more. And gee, I was doing the same job, and I would argue I was working even harder than they were. Well, today, with this legislation in Albany County, with a salary range, a worker can go into a discussion with a potential employer and understand exactly what the range of salary is, thereby helping to equalize, essentially offering transparency that helps the worker and creates leverage for an employee in that equation. So again, I want to thank Carolyn, great job on this, and I'm very proud to be a co-sponsor and help you with it.
Mr. Brewski?
As a small business owner myself, I have a natural reaction to a bill like this. I can very much see that business owners might chafe at having to publish salary ranges, which by virtue of custom tend to be not well shown. However, I don't think that there is much to fear. In fact, when you look at the latest kind of research for small businesses, we post on Indeed, postings that post job ranges get many more people applying to those jobs. I found in my own companies, when the team believes that we are rewarding equal work with the same pay, they work harder. They're more, they're happier to kind of do that work, and it really builds team morale. And so I don't think there really is much to fear with this bill. We also join states like Colorado, California, Connecticut, Maryland, Nevada, Rhode Island, and New York City, as well as cities like Toledo that have passed this and haven't seen doomsday happen. So even as a small business owner, I find a lot to like about this. The civil rights benefits are very clear with a bill like this, and so I think the fact that businesses are going in this direction anyways, and they've seen the benefits, shows that there's no countervailing cost to it. So I was voting for it.
Ms. McLean?
You said what I wanted to say.
Okay. Mr. Joyce?
Just, please add me as a sponsor.
Me too, please.
Mr. Drake? We have Ms. Kakis, Mr. Reinhardt, want to be added on that. Mr. Drake? Mr. Miles wants to be added, Mr. Mayo. Mr. Drake?
Yeah, I think you brought it up. It's already being done. You got to put a number out there so people will apply. I'm just not a fan of the legislature in your business at your desk. I never have been. I get your point. I'll support it, but again, I don't like where we're going with these things. I think there's so much onerous regulation. You step on something on the floor and you committed a crime. The market forces have already brought us to this day. It's not 20 years ago, right? It's not 30 years ago. We're in a better place. And when I'm trying to find someone to work, which I can't find, so I don't have a choice of discriminating, okay? But when I'm trying to find someone to work, not that I want someone to look at, I don't mean I want to. The point was I'm being facetious. There's no one to say no to. There's no one to undercut. You need employees and you need good ones. So you have to put out, a salary range to attract good people. So I hate to invalidate people's work, it's not really my point here, but I just feel like we chase things that are already happening. I don't know why. We're always in the back, in the individual or the business's back pocket, or on the shoulder, telling them what to do. And I just wish we do less. That's my biggest thing.
Mr. Reinhardt.
I'm going to take a shot at why. Basically, business tries to be efficient and make money. Government is a different thing. So when it was said, why should we impose gender or diversity issues in the workplace? Well, that's the role of government. That is what we do. If we didn't, we would be in a much worse place. We are getting better, and it's partly because we do make statements like this. Gender and equity and diversity matter. So, there's my answer.
Okay, one roll call, please.
Feston.
Yes.
Brewski.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
No.
Chapman.
Yes.
Clay.
Yes.
Cleary.
Yes.
Camiso. Collins.
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Demalowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
Yes.
Epicoro.
Yes.
Ethier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Grimm.
No.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Ray Joyce.
Yes.
Coon.
Yes.
Lukakis.
Oh, yeah.
Lockhart.
No.
Murriello.
No.
Mayo.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Hurley.
Yes.
Peter.
Absolutely.
Plosky.
Yes.
Reedy.
Yes.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Ricard.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Tunney.
No.
Ward.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Willingham.
Yes.
I have 34 yes, 5 no.
Yay.
Local law E for 2022 passes 34 to 5. Local law H.
A local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to health care facilities.
If I could for a moment, everyone, we've all had to go to the doctor's office. Many people in Albany County have to present themselves at medical facilities either for routine purposes or not so routine purposes, and they do so in a very vulnerable state. And I believe this sends a message to everyone in Albany County that you should go to your healthcare provider and do so feeling free and feeling confident in the fact that you're not going to be harassed at your healthcare provider. So I hope you'll join me in supporting Local Law H for 2022. Mr. Purley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too stand in favor of removing any obstruction or impediment to a person attempting to access medical services, particularly when those services are protected under state law as they are here in New York State. That said, I think we've all witnessed the alarming rise across the nation and across the political spectrum in the penalization, the censoring, the canceling, and the outright prohibition of exercises of free speech when that speech tends to annoy the listener. There are some sort of fuzzy definitions in this law that on its face, I think for my purposes need to be clarified. The definition of harassment as being seriously annoying, and I think it needs to be pointed in the record that the federal statute, which is very similar to this, which was enacted in 1994, was subsequently interpreted by a variety of federal courts, that the definition of harassment is an objective standard, not a subjective standard in the eye of the beholder, so to speak, who feels themselves annoyed by an action. But most importantly, the conduct is physical conduct and physical acts. It is not speech per se. So with that clarification, that what we're attempting to prohibit is the physical prohibition and blocking
while also protecting our long-established principles of free speech, I'll be voting yes on this measure.
Okay, one roll call, local law H. Mr. Peter.
Sorry. I just want to say thank you for putting this forward. My partner is a healthcare provider. The horrors that she reports that sometimes hits at her patients or her personally on certain lists of acts of physical violence at those seeking her services or at herself. Someone asked in committee, is this really necessary here? I can say that it is. It's very personal, as is people's healthcare choices. And I want to thank you for putting this forward and working so diligently on it. I'll be voting that.
And Mr. Peter raises a good point. This is also about healthcare providers and the individuals that work in those facilities. Mr. Demolis. Legend. Mr. Drake.
Is there anyone can clarify on this, whether this protects people receiving mental health care or counseling services, or is it only for people with strictly a medical, physical medical concern? Medical, excuse me.
Mental health is health, Mr. Drake. Okay. Long roll call, local law H, please.
Beston.
Yes.
Brewski.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Clay.
Yes.
Cleary.
Yes.
Camiso. Collins.
No.
Cunningham.
Yes.
Tomolowitz.
Yes.
Drake. Efacoro.
Yes.
Ethier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Grimm.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Ray Joyce.
Yes.
Kuhn.
Yes.
Lakakis.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Murriello.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Hurley.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Plosky. Reedy.
Yes.
Reinhardt. Ricard.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith. Tunney.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Whalen.
Yes.
Willingham. 38 yes, 1 no.
Local law H passes 38 yes, 1 no. Okay, folks, before we adjourn, we have 2 items that didn't make it to the agenda and must be taken up by Rule 11. The first Rule 11 is a public hearing related to the local law also being introduced, which will codify the code and charter of Albany County. This is it right here. This is what we have all been waiting for.
What's that, 8 pen?
Side angle. Look at how voluminous this is. So for those of you who aren't tracking, or for those of us who ran in 2015, the Charter Review Commission had a number of recommendations, and one of them was an administrative code for Albany County. So we are here. We want to thank the staff and elected officials and everybody, prior leadership that worked to get us to this point. But that's the purposes of our Rule 11 tonight. So at this point, we'd like the clerk to please read Resolution 398. Before we do that, we're going to ask for a motion that we invoke Rule 11.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Efacaro, seconded by Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, please read Resolution 398.
Public hearing on proposed local law number O for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany regarding the adoption of the Code of Albany County.
All those in favor? Aye. Stand by. We are referring this. So Resolution 398 is going to be referred to the Law Committee and the Rules Reform and Modernization Committees, please. That was a close one. Okay, the last Rule 11 is a local law for codification. Can I have a motion to invoke Rule 11? Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Madam Clerk, please read local law O.
A local law of the County of Albany, New York, adopting the Code of Albany County.
Please refer local law O to the Law Committee and the Rules Reform and Modernization Committees, please. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Cleary, seconded by Mr. Peter. All those in favor? Opposed? Good night, everyone. Thank you.